People always seem surprised when they find out I do a lot of my writing on a typewriter. I use a Remington Quiet Writer, which I bought secondhand on an Australian trading website a few years ago. It works like a charm. Sometimes I write first drafts on my Remington, or journal entries, or poetry. People often ask why I don't just use a computer, why I have to use such an archaic and unnecessary machine just to put words on a page, especially since there isn't a way to undo mistakes. To which I say, it's the 21st century, of course I write on a computer. But I also use a typewriter, my trusty typing machine, and not just because I think it looks cool, which I do. It looks f***ing awesome. Someone once told me I was pretentious for using a typewriter. I don't really care what people think about me. The reality is, I've used a typewriter for a few years now, and there's nothing like the clacking clack of loud keys slamming ink onto a page. It's a beautiful soundtrack, the beating heart of an adrenaline-filled race from the top of the paper to the bottom. Typewriters are on the rise again, thanks to hipsters and aesthetic-chasing literature nerds. And so I'm going to try to convince you to get your own typewriter by telling you 3 reasons why I like to use a typewriter. My first reason is practical. I like to edit drafts of writing on paper rather than on a screen. So I would need to print my documents from my laptop onto paper. Printers may be cheap, but ink cartridges are expensive, and paying 10 cents to print a page in any print store isn't economically feasible, especially not when you're printing dozens of pages. But if all I want to print are draft documents, why not do the drafts on a typewriter, where a ribbon of ink has lasted me 2 years and still going strong? Where the words are instantly printed on a page without need of a printing service. And besides, it's a draft. It doesn't need to be neat or be free from errors. You get to see the words appear on the page in live time. And the more you use a typewriter, the easier it becomes to set up your page, your margins, and you end up typing with fewer errors. The cool thing about typewriters is that you can just set up a page and go, unleash your inner workings of your brain unfiltered on the page. You can do this on a computer, I suppose, but then you're tempted to edit and contemplate each and every word, or run to Google for synonyms. You could handwrite, but I personally have an awful scrawl, and writing with pen for prolonged periods of time hurts my hand because I hold my pen in a very unique way. But typewriters tire me out much less, even with all that clacking, and they don't allow me to edit as I write. At best, I can strike through a mistake and carry on to the next line, but if I'm trying to write in a stream of consciousness way, grammar and typos are the last thing on my mind. All I aim to do in these moments is capture thoughts and images as authentically and quickly as they come to me. Handwriting takes so long. I did an experiment to see how long it takes me to write a whole blank page by hand, and then how long it takes to fill a blank page with a typewriter. Not only could I fill a page faster with a typewriter, but my words were more articulate and I could fit more on a single page. I write a lot of poetry. A lot of poetry. I write at least 4 poems a day, which adds up to a lot of poems in a year. I don't write all of these on a typewriter, but I do type up the ones I really like. And why not do it on a typewriter? Instantly printed, usually fitting on a single page, ready for me to cut up and paste into my poetry archive, or to paste up somewhere on the streets for a stranger to read. If you like writing poetry, using a typewriter could be an organic way of milking the words out of your mind and onto the page. The only downside to having a typewriter is that there aren't all that many people around who know how to repair them when they play up. Here in Melbourne, the only person I know who has this skill is Tom Koska, who runs the last typewriter repair shop in the city. It's a dying trade, but perhaps someone should become an apprentice and reignite it, seeing as typewriters are on the rise again. What do you think about typewriters? Have you used one? Do you own one? Do you find it pretentious? Let me know down below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want more videos about writing. Peace, love, and empathy.